Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about changing the deal with existing clients. You know, I really focus on helping so many advisors achieve mastery of client engagement, which is a skill that we're never really taught as we become professionals. And there's always this one area where there's trepidation, and as lots of clients have said to me, sweaty palms when they actually go to do something about this, and that's changing the deal with an existing client. You know, it's funny because when I coach advisors and professionals through, okay, this is the proper engagement, this is how you articulate your value, this is actually what your service is worth, this is the value, here's how to explain it. More often than not, they do marvelous in terms of their own situation when it comes to new clients. So they find it easy to say to someone brand new, hey, look, here's what I'm doing, here's the deal, here's the service, here's the value, are you in or are you not? Yet the problem is that for almost all professionals I work with, they already have a client base. And if you have a client base and you're adding new clients on top of that, no matter how well you engage those new clients, you're still building on shaky foundations. And it's kind of interesting that the people that you've got the best relationship with are the ones that you're most afraid to go back to and say, hey, look, I've got to be honest with you, I've got to come clean. This is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and this is what we're going to need to charge you going forward. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. By and large, those conversations are actually the easiest. But I have to tell you, they're not the easiest when you have a mental block up here. So if you go into it being apprehensive, that's exactly what you're going to get in terms of reaction from the client. So I know this intimately because when I work with advisors and advice firms, we also get them to record their client meetings. And these days, a lot of those meetings are on video. So I actually get to see the body language and I get to see exactly how the advisor is triggering the reaction in the client. And that's the thing about value perception. Value perception always has to start with you. It has to come from you. It has to come from your certainty, your belief in what you do. And if it doesn't, then you're communicating something completely different to the client. Anyway, my point out of all of this is you should never be afraid to change the deal with an existing client. And if you are, then what you're actually doing is building legacy issues throughout the entirety of your business. You can't scale, systematize, be profitable, build the best service model, and actually do the best job for your clients if it's piecemeal, if new clients are on a different deal to your first clients. So how are you going about doing that? Well, I'm not going to get into the nuance of it today, but I am going to give you some really, really valuable tips. So the first tip that I want to give you is don't be afraid, just be honest. That's the absolute way to sell authentically because you're not really selling, you're just actually being truthful. So if the deal's changed, if you have to change the deal, remember, you don't have to agree to continue doing this for the client. Just because you ran the business, offered a service at a specific price when you first took them on board, even if that was only 9 months ago, if you realize things have changed and you've delivered what you promised you were delivering before, but you now have to change the deal going forward, have an honest conversation. It's almost never too late to go ahead and say, hey, look, this has come up. This is what we need to do. And so often, this even comes into play when I see advisors working with clients and they're just in the early days, the first few months, and maybe they quoted a price to do some work, but then the clients brought them more complexity. And yet the advisor's afraid to go to them and say, hey, look, it's taken much longer to get this information out of you. You've brought a whole lot more complexity to us. So in order for me to do the work, we still absolutely need to. You need my help in order to go from where you are to where you want to be. But I'm going to have to charge you more because the nature of the engagement's changed. Never be afraid of having an honest conversation. This isn't about pushing the envelope or ripping people off. It's about being honest. And never short selling yourself either in this equation. Never short sell your clients, but don't short sell yourself either. That's actually a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Because the point here is that you're in business, and a business relationship has to be a partnership that's two-sided. So my advice to you is Never be afraid of changing the deal with an existing client. And in fact, if you're not altering the deal every year and resetting your expectations, then honestly, you're creating massive legacy issues in your business. Take care. Love to hear what you think. Cheers.